it is about time for my yearly fall trip, I have a question. Which state out of the states that you've been to for more than a few hours, so like actually stayed there, which state did you care for the least that you've been to? Mine would actually have to be Michigan. I don't like sand, so that's the first thing. And they're big on sandy beaches, and beaches in general aren't my thing. But the rocky beaches in Wisconsin are definitely more my vibe. I also thought Michigan was going to be more similar to Wisconsin. And I went to the Mitten part, FY, not talking about the Upper Peninsula, which is pretty much Wisconsin. I thought it was going to have more hiking and be more similar to Wisconsin, and it wasn't, which I thought was weird. I thought the hiking was not very good, in my opinion. I don't know. However, when talking about favorite states that I visited, I always like to mention Kansas and Nebraska, because if you ask almost anyone, they'll say that those are like the two most boring states. And this is the trick part. They always say to drive through. And I was like, exactly, hon. You just drove through the main highway that goes through them. So yeah, they're boring because they're not very hilly or anything. But I actually call Kansas my spirit state, like my spirit animal, because it is absolutely filled or covered, whatever you want to call it, with abandoned towns, which are my thing, or my jam. Also, there's a town that I went to on the very west side of Nebraska, which was one of my favorite stops on my road trip to Colorado. And me and my aunt were joking because she's from Nebraska, and everyone always says that Nebraska is so boring and so flat, and we very much disagree. It's one of our favorites. So I also think people forget that like the west side of Kansas is the start of the desert. There's actually some cool rock formations that you find out in the desert if you take anything other than the main highway that goes through there. So yeah, let me know what your least favorite state is, and maybe your favorite as well, or maybe an unexpected favorite.